Thank you very much. But before we start, our neighbors, they are our neighbors really, Nigerians, our friends and our brothers, Nigerians, go to the polls today. And that was 2006. At this time I was there and reporting live on this show. I want to speak to Paul Turner, who is a Nigerian journalist. Paul, good morning and welcome to Newsfile here in Ghana.
Good morning, Samson.
Great to have you on the show this morning. I can imagine that you are ready and maybe already on the field monitoring how people are turning up in the queues and getting ready to do the most fundamental right that is offered them by the Nigerian Constitution, cast their ballots.
Absolutely.
What's the mood like?
Well, the mood is calm. People are patiently in their various polling stations waiting to be accredited for the election.
Interesting you say the mood is calm, because up till now we have heard about, simmering tensions and people harboring fears, hoarding food and so on. Not very different from what I witnessed in 2006 when I was I went through the Adamawa area and other places back in Lagos and the federal capital.
Yeah, there are always tensions. If you know the political history of Nigeria, you see that every election cycle we experience some skirmishes and violence, and this one is no different. Pre-election violence has been recorded already, and there are tensions indeed. But however, this morning we have not had any incidents of any violence in any polling stations yet.
I see. On a morning like this, when I covered the elections in Nasarawa, it wasn't a good story to tell. Very early in the morning, and the queues had already started being disrupted. And getting to the evening, the Ghana Must Go bags that were being used for the votes were being, carried away by hoodlums.
Yeah, this election is quite different because there are security personnel everywhere. If you have been monitoring the news, the authorities have deployed a lot of security agencies, the police, the army, the security intelligence. So the place is swarmed with a lot of security personnel. So I'm sure many incidents will be quite curtailed this time around. Also, the only incidents people are having are logistical problems. Some of the police units up to now, the INEC officials have not come to start accrediting them. So people are calling to radio stations and complaining waiting for the officials.
How are people taking the very curious news on the eve of the elections about what is going on at the Boko Haram headquarters?
Yeah. The news is coming in that the army are taking over Boko Haram headquarters. So that should be good news for the whole country, and it should be able to provide some relief to people who live in those areas.
Do people believe that story?
Oh, there was a BBC journalist who actually went there himself to cover it. So those who have been monitoring have seen that truly there are progress that are being made.
Right. But are speculations and suspicions right when they say the politicians are in control of Boko Haram, really? Because this is so coincidental and very curiously coincidental.
Yes. Until you can never tell, there are speculations and controversy theories everywhere. There are opposition people who are accusing politicians of different political parties as being behind it. But there are no independent investigations to establish that. So for now, it remains speculations.
Give us a fair idea of the rules about voting this morning and today. How many people are we expecting in general who are the front runners in the presidential elections? And
Yeah, so the elections in 2015 is going to be between the incumbent Goodluck Jonathan, who is from the southern Christian south of the country, and who has been incumbent for the past 6 years, a bit or so, because he took over from the late president who died in office.
Yaradua.
President Umaru Yaradua, yes. And he's competing against his main challenger, who also challenged him in the 2011 election, retired General Muhammadu Buhari. He has been contesting before. This is his fourth time that he's contesting for the office of the presidency, and he has never had a fair chance to compete against the ruling party until now, because now all the opposition parties in the country merged into a big mega party, and they have given the ruling party a run for their money.
So people are in the queues. They are supposed to be voting between what time and what time,
Okay.
and when are results expected to be announced?
Good. People are in the field. Accreditation of voters should take place between 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then from 1:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. or so, people are supposed to carry out the actual voting. And the INEC officials announced that the election results will be announced 48 hours from when the last vote was counted.
Can you explain briefly what you mean when you say that people are now going through accreditation and to vote later on in the day?
Good. What the plan or innovation by the Independent Electoral Commission is to try to curtail rigging and malpractice. So they have a card reader, electronic card reader, that voters will come with a permanent voter card that looks like something like an ATM, a smart card. Then you go there and they will check with the card reader, electronic card reader, that will confirm whether or not you are the actual owner of the card that you've brought to come and vote, your voter's card. And also, you will do biometrics to confirm also that you are the owner of the card. So there are situations where people are not able to do their biometrics because their fingerprints are not recognizing. However, their pictures and images have confirmed that they are the ones who are the real owners of the card. So what they are supposed to do in such a situation is to fill an incident form by the officials. They will fill an incident form for such a person saying that indeed he's the owner of the card, but for whatever reason, his biometrics is not coming through, and then he'll be allowed to vote.
Right.
So the process of accreditation will go on till 1, and people will take a break and then come back and queue for the proper election itself.
Very interesting. But, by the mechanics of this particular election, don't you feel that the elections might run into, more than a day? Even the ordinary, simple, straightforward process also did run into more than a day before.
Even the president addressed the media this morning on that, because the president himself had challenges going through with accreditation. But eventually, he was able to get to he and his wife, and he's assuring the country to be calm and go about the business, and that even if you have problems with the accreditation electronically, there are manual and ad hoc preparations to take care of the problem. However, he himself expressed fears, as journalists also were trying to pitch questions to him about the delay that might span into late hours or perhaps even into another day. So there are those fears, but until now, they remain speculation. Until the time comes, nobody can say for sure that such a thing will actually happen.
Okay. But as we have monitored, it's really the case that Buhari has a very likely chance, a higher chance of success this time around than ever before, right?
That is not clear-cut. In fact, the general thing people are saying is that it is too close to call, and they are running neck and neck. To say beforehand that one group is going to win over the other group.
But even Paul, even that they are running neck and neck, that claim, is historic.
Exactly. I told you before that the Muhammad Buhari, this is the 4th election he's running, and this is the fairest chance he has had at competing against the ruling party. In other words, it has never been this good for the opposition in the country before.
Right.
Because of the merger and also dissatisfaction. There are many youths who complain about high levels of corruption, and others who complain about the insecurity situation in the country. All this has helped to garner support for the opposition and giving the opposition a good chance of winning the election. However, it still remains speculation. Nobody can tell for sure because there's no credible independent poll that will sample people's opinion and say this is the one who's leading the poll. There are so many online versions, but none of them really cut across the whole country.
Okay. I think we'll have to leave it here and allow you to go through the process, and later we may talk to you in the course of this program. Thank you very much, Paul Turner.
Thank you.
Grateful. Paul Turner is a Nigerian journalist, and he's on the field in Nigeria, and he is bringing us up to speed as to what is going on there this morning. As you know, they are going to the polls, and they are supposed to elect a president today. Either it will be retaining Goodluck Jonathan, Iberi Jonathan, or it will be Muhammadu Buhari. Thank you very much. You're still here on Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis show.